I've definitely had my fair share of anxiety before shows and stage fright, and I've been performing for a really long time, so at this point, I feel like I have a lot of advice. I'm gonna start out with some more overall general things and some mindset things, and then I will go into specific details. I'll start out by saying that one of the things that has melted away so much of my performance anxiety is remembering why I'm there. Remembering how much I love music, how it makes me feel, how I felt when I wrote the songs that I'm performing. And that sounds very vague, but when you really try to feel the music, you're not thinking about mistakes. I'm so high contrast. But have you ever performed or played one of your songs in your room and you just feel that so much, and you could make like 3 mistakes while you're playing, but you're so into it that you're just feeling it. You're feeling it so much. That's how you want to feel on stage. Why is, okay, I just had to do this. You know, you're not on stage to just play perfectly and not make mistakes. You're on stage to feel it. When you're really feeling it, the crowd can feel it too. And that's really the point of performance. It's just really hard to forget. And I've forgotten it many, many times, and I have to actively re-remember it. If you are going out of your way to perform your own music, there's no doubt that it means a lot to you. You've gone so far out of your way to do this, and you clearly love it. So focus on that and remember how much you love it. Some ways that you might be able to get into that feeling is just listening to a bunch of music that you like. It doesn't have to be your own music. You could be a rock performer, and if you love a certain rapper, listen to them. Get into the mood of feeling music when you're getting ready for your show. Something that also helps me is just playing songs that I'm really good at playing. When I play on stage, I'm not playing my absolute most like flex instrumental pieces, but sometimes if I want to get into the mood of playing, I'll play like one of my more intense like classical pieces of music just to get myself into the feeling of playing piano. And then when I get back to my more simple things that I write, I feel a lot more energetic about it. It's also really good to practice day of, both for your fingers and your brain and also just for your mindset. If you have time to practice your whole set, that's great. This next thing is specifically for bands and playing with other people. I find that when you have a really good connection with your band, it really erases a lot of fear that you might feel. I was in a band with some of my best friends in the world for 3 years, and whenever I'd get on stage with them, I just felt like I was at practice. That just comes from having a really good connection with your bandmates, communicating about stuff, resolving conflict in a kind way, and just hanging out with them, drinking beers with them after the set. If you're friends with your bandmates, you can look to them when you're on stage, and for me that always makes me feel a lot better, being able to smile at them mid-song, maybe go over and play at them. That also helps with stage presence. If you're scared to look at the crowd, you can look at your bandmate and get all into it and like play guitars at each other. It feels like you're being this big performer, but you're actually just with your friend and you're just hanging out. This one is easier said than done, but do not listen to imposter syndrome. You are on stage. You have the opportunity to convert a crowd. They're not there to judge you. They're there because they want to have a good time. Think about how you feel when you go to shows. You're looking to enjoy some music, and that is how other people feel. You could leave your show with a bunch of new friends and fans who love your music. All it takes is convincing them of that. And if you're on stage, you've already convinced yourself of that. So don't give me like, my music isn't good enough. If you're performing it, it's good enough. You can make people like it. One tip that athletes use is imagining that your fear is excitement. Our body only has one generalized response to fear. Your body reacts the same way whether you're late to work, running from somebody who wants to kill you, or going on a roller coaster. It really is mind over matter. A lot of the way that you imagine that you'll feel is going to affect the way that this generalized response actually makes you feel. It's also really good to just find ways to face your social anxiety more often in any context. I think I'm a very naturally shy person, and I had a lot of social anxiety when I was in high school. And then when I got to college, I started working in bars. This is just one example, and there are a million ways to face this fear. But for me, I used to have a lot of trouble starting conversations with new people and addressing larger groups of people. Through bartending, I learned that I have to go up to every person who's there. I have to go up and approach them and talk to them. Sometimes I'm talking to a big group of people. Sometimes I'm yelling last call to a room full of people, or I'm kicking somebody out. Doing that has really allowed me to feel comfortable just talking to a crowd of people that are in front of me. I know that one thing that's really common is going to karaoke to practice singing and stage presence. I think that's a great idea, and I want to start doing that. Anytime you have the chance to be in front of a crowd, go for it. Whenever you feel yourself not doing something because it's scary, you should do it. That's the only reason why you're not doing it, then that is the sign to do it, and that will help you become a braver person overall. This one's really important. Go to shows and make friends. Support other people in your scene, because that is true karma. If you start going to shows, you notice that a lot of the people who go to shows are people who play shows. You start to see a lot of the same faces, and if you make friends with those people, you're gonna start to see them at your shows. Over time, you know, if you're feeling that imposter syndrome on stage of like, what if they don't like it, you're gonna see a bunch of your friends in the crowd. You know that they want to support support you because you've shown that you've supported them. I had a show a couple days ago that I didn't promote at all just from being busy, so none of my close friends were there, but I looked into the crowd and I saw so many people that I just knew from shows. A bunch of people whose shows that I've gone to, and so I didn't feel very much fear performing in front of them because I know that they wanted to support me too. Remember to pull your crowd in. Literally just ask them to walk forward. Don't be afraid to ask multiple times during the set if they're not doing it. People are afraid to walk towards the stage, but when they do, you feel a lot more connected to them. Try to smile and move around as much as you can. I know that's easier said than done. You gotta fake it till you make it, and that really, really does work. You will trick your body into thinking that you are really excited, even if you aren't initially feeling that way. And you will also convince your crowd of that. And then there will be reciprocal energy where you're also feeling the energy from the crowd that's making you more energetic because you led with that. You can also like choreograph your songs, the little kind of dance you wanna do to some of them. It doesn't have to be anything super specific. You can practice talking between sets. I know it feels really weird to practice just talking, but I promise that nobody else is going to find it as weird as you feel doing it. Whether that's practicing in your room the way that you're going to introduce a song before you practice that song, or if you're at band practice and you want to practice kind of like a full set run through with you actually talking, pretending there's a crowd there, your band will not think that that's weird. I've been at band practices where people have done that. It makes sense, and sometimes we can give feedback too. Like this one is kind of a no-brainer, but if you don't already, practice your songs a bunch. Practice them all the time. They need to be an extension of you. When you're feeling fearful on stage, it's really good to have that muscle memory. Across the board, I've noticed with both myself and others that whatever you do on stage is only going to be 80% as good as what you do by yourself. And obviously that's not always true. You'll get to a point where you play just as good on stage as you do by yourself, but when you're first starting out, that stage fright does or can really affect you. When you're first starting out, you need to be able to get to 110% or, 150% in your room, just being on fire when you play your songs, so that when you get on stage, that is muscle memory. The feeling and the performance, that is all muscle memory, and you can rely on that. Over time, you'll be able to perform on stage the way that you do when you're feeling 100% comfortable, but the absolute most effective way of defeating stage fright is just performing and performing and performing. The more that you do it, the more natural it'll feel to you, and the more that you'll feel like you can be yourself on stage. And it'll happen before you know it. Even if you're doing it scared and you're on stage feeling so terrified and you're like, I'm gonna feel like this every single time, you're not. The same way that tolerance works with the drug, or that you can get desensitized to information, you're going to get desensitized to the fear that you feel on stage, inevitably. Your brain is going to decide, okay, I'm experiencing this a lot. It's actually not a threat. I'm not too worried about it. Even if you don't believe that, just trust me, it will happen. Mind over matter is important. Sometimes when I'm on stage and I feel the thoughts creeping in of like, oh, I could mess up, I just push it out. And I know that not everyone is going to be able to do that instantly, but you will get there, I promise. That is everything that I could think of from the top of my head this morning. But if anyone has advice, feel free to comment it, and if I get enough other piece of advice, I'll make like a part 2 to this. Even if it's like just something silly that you do, or like something like niche or weird. But yeah, you got this. I know when you're feeling this kind of anxiety, sometimes it feels like you're the only one who's feeling this way and that everyone else is so natural. But I would say that at least 80% of people have experienced this kind of fear before, and you're not alone, and everyone has been there. You will one day be coaching somebody else through stage fright. So